you? Because you're the person who said you're
Morning to all
morning.
who have
I'm gonna drive me nuts and
in.
move again.
What's up, Kelin?
I have a question, just out of curiosity. Do you like the looks of the what are they? Cyber trucks or something?
Yeah, love
cyber. You like the way they look?
100%.
What do you like about it?
It's different than anything else that's out there, and as a VIP
Very
and
true.
all things, anything that is different than all other things, I'm attracted to.
Very true. Very true. I saw one on the way here again, and I'm just like, I can't decide how I feel about those. They are very different. And I think my brain's like, ooh, it's too different. And then I say, well, be open-minded. Different could be good. And then I realize, you know what they kind of remind me of? It kind of looks like a kid, like maybe an elementary school age child tried to draw a car.
Mhm.
And they took that children's drawing and they made it.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it's
Yeah.
like.
Well, I used to advocate for electric vehicles and new innovative designs and pay attention to any of these prototypes that would come out of the the facilities, the people who manufactured vehicles. And I thought people that were on a cutting edge were doing something different. I had their appreciation because they weren't just trying to sell the same freaking minivan to all the normies that look like every other minivans, right? That
Yeah.
would totally fit in and not even be a topic of conversation. Versus somebody who say, I'm going to do it with the sole purpose of getting this so normie, so disrupted that they can't help but try to make fun of or diminish somebody's original design.
Or talk about.
Talk about,
Because
right?
the only bad publicity is no publicity.
Right.
Why am I so close? Don't I look enormous?
You're always enormous.
I feel like it's like
No, you're good.
extreme close up.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Stop looking at yourself, Narcissus.
I'm right in my face as I am everyone else.
Just look at a blank space on the wall and it will not cause problems. There you go.
Look at the sun that's out today.
Mhm.
Yay.
All right. So that your whole thing on EVs was the look of the Cybertruck?
Yeah, I was just wondering. I saw one on the way here and I was like, God, those are odd looking.
They're amazing looking. A flavor for every person.
Yeah.
I would buy one in a heartbeat.
Why don't you?
I will, but they're sort of like financially, they don't quite make sense. Like when I
Not
bought
quite
my
there
X,
yet.
when I first started looking up, they were $130,000. I was like, okay, that's a cool concept car, but I'm not going to pay $130,000 for something that's going to should be around $70,000, $80,000. I'm going to wait until it comes in line. New stuff usually costs more, and I'm not one of those people who buy things when there's a premium. The $10,000 LCD screen, I didn't buy one of those, but people did, and they ensured the fact like when something's new, they pay the premium. Then it gets to a point where they can manufacture it with more economies built in, and it comes down to its real price. I wait for the real price to come in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not into like cyber trucks and stuff, but I see that in fashion and products like makeup, like new things or really well made things tend to be a little more costly, but then it gets a little ridiculous and it's like, no, I'm not buying that until you bring that down.
I have principles and I will wait until it comes in line. But I like most about the Cybertruck is it makes men's balls grow by about 2, like almost like the Grinch, like his heart grew by 3 times or whatever it was. Testosterone is so much needed in this estrogen filled culture. So
you think that's an example of more testosterone?
Yes, you need more testosterone. You need more guys just grunting, not even saying words about the Cybertruck, just saying, ugh!
That's like the equivalent of like when they have their really loud trucks and they're like,
like hack the catalytic converter off and let the true sound of an engine
I told you
permeate everyone that's in the listening area.
What I yell, like I literally out loud yell at those vehicles. I tell you what I yell.
Yeah.
I yell, sorry about your small penis.
Exactly. That is estrogen in your body bubbling up and saying, we don't like testosterone. We're a feminist culture. Eat more soy.
No.
Absolutely.
No. In fact, something that is manly would be attractive. Biologically would make sense.
Honestly, that's sort of like the laboratory of men building up the testosterone to act like real men. If you feminize everything, then there's no loud cars and there's no V8s.
No. It's not feminizing to not overdo it. When you overdo it, it just screams insecurity, and a woman doesn't matter.
That's the process.
Because manliness is secure.
Doesn't have to be secure in all modes. You have to develop the testosterone and develop the manliness. That's not for you. That's when men are in the laboratory of building up their puffed chest, right? Building up their chest hair. Their balls are dropping from inside their body to outside their body. Like you're just getting a peek in how the sausage is made.
If they choose to express that in a way of a loud, 100%. Dumb truck, then a woman is going to go, I'm so glad this works for you. You're not going to get a woman.
It used
because
to be,
it doesn't look manly.
It used to be that women in the pursuit of, or men in pursuit of women would need to like puff up because their manliness. Now men are like, F women. Like I could just go to ChatGPT and get some boob shots and get flirted with, no problem. You're not even necessary anymore. Now we're just doing it for us. So we're strapping on the AK to our back, right? We're letting our balls drop in. We're going to Chipotle and listening to the lisping speaker behind the cash register and saying, I'm not that and I don't want to be that.
So you see someone in a loud souped up truck or a Cybertruck and you're like, you are all things men.
Freaking get it.
You're like, I want to be like him.
No, one day there's going to be a threat that's going to require real men with real balls
and
to go out there.
And they're the last people I would go to.
And they're the first people that I would go to because they're the only competent ones in society. Then we're like, hey, we need some warriors here. Am I going to go after the person that's almost developing tits? Or am I going to go to the person that maybe not real big in the intellectual department, but they got big fists? I'm going to the fist guy.
It's hiding what they don't have. It's a mask. It's a screen. I don't have all these things. I better create the illusion that I do.
Not pursuing,
and it's so see-through.
They are not pursuing you anymore. You have checked
clearly
out 100%.
Because they're not manly.
Well, what's it feel like when you're not being pursued? Because I think women that affects more than men. If you're not, being chased down, like you're gonna feel that one day.
I think both sexes like that. 110% of man wants to be
I'm telling
chased.
you, culture is getting men to be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to do what feels good. I'm going to drink my beer, watch my TV, soup up my truck. I'm going to do all these manly things. And any of those like 1% segments where you kind of need the femininity of women to do, I'm just going to get that with technology. I'm going to fill in that gap. Now women have made themselves irrelevant because you can get it elsewhere.
Security, confidence,
that's all
is quiet,
and that's fine.
Insecurity
if
is
you
loud.
Are being pursued, like let's just say,
not if you are being pursued. It is that period. You
doesn't
don't need
matter.
a woman. You don't need to be pursued. You don't need to have the searching for the opposite sex. It's just what you are.
What happens, and when they're not doing it to impress you. They don't care if you feel like they're XYZ.
I'm not talking about doing anything to impress women.
Hey, go out to ask them and say, hey, you have a truck and I don't find any of this attractive. And they're like, I don't effing care.
They will care.
I don't effing care.
They will care.
No, what if they don't? What if there's a point?
Because there's no way that's not their intent. There's no
Doesn't
way
matter.
they're not trying
doesn't
to
freaking
pursue.
matter.
And if you went up and said, this
You
isn't
think
working,
they're pursuing, but they're not anymore. They've checked out.
That's
They're
not
like,
true.
I'm not riding
That
down the
is
road.
not true.
Black smoke out of my pipe. I'm not doing this to attract the ladies. I'm doing it
Yes,
to be
they
a
are.
freaking man. And I don't care
to
if you
attract the
It
ladies.
doesn't matter. you had that built in. That was part of the equation, and now it's no more. You squandered it, and now they don't give two shits. They're like, I'm just gonna go be a man and be happy.
Maybe what they're thinking is it'll attract the easy ladies.
Well, there's plenty of those out there. So if
Yeah,
you want,
they're probably like, this is so obvious that I'm attracting the obvious,
that's
desperate.
fine. Doesn't matter. You're
Even
judging
Julie
them.
says, I am right. That is caveman mentality.
That's fine. Lots of that. We need more cavemen. We need more
don't think
testosterone laden
Listen,
grunters.
It's two different things. Testosterone laden is one thing.
Yes.
A manly man is one thing.
Yes.
That's not what you're describing. What you're describing is an insecure,
But no,
soy milk
those might
drinking
be. Those might just be
weakling.
like superficial expressions when you're like, oh, that's a man. When a guy runs up in a Cybertruck and he puts in like a coal burner, so it still blows black smoke out there, and he has the testicles like hanging from the rear mount,
my
right? I'm
God.
like, dude, you go get yours. You explore
You
all
won't
that
be getting
manliness.
anything.
You go watch football, crack open a beer, and hit every stereotype. Men
I
need.
sure hope you like hanging out with other douchebags.
And what if you
That's
get
all
cut out?
you're hanging
See,
out with.
women have that built in the equation. If they're always going to be pursued, you squandered it. It's
What
no
does
more.
that have to do with pursuing women?
What if women judge you for you being the manly man that you are, and you're like, I don't give a shit. Why does it matter? It doesn't. You're assuming that they're doing it to impress you, and they're not. They don't give two shits anymore.
Julie says there's a reason caveman became extinct. Jerry says, I have to agree with Kelin, as if need to attract attention at whatever cost to make yourself feel better is making yourself feel you're hoping to be envied.
That's fine. And I would give that same advice to them. But at the same time, they don't care. Like
they do care.
They don't.
They do
don't
care.
They
That's
don't.
why they do it. Somebody who is truly secure enough and does
But
not
they're
actually
not
care,
looking-
doesn't feel the need to make it seem, look at
What
me
if your
because I care.
What if your priorities came my survivalhood? Like, let's just say the zombie
Putting
apocalypse,
balls on your truck is really necessary to
100%.
survival.
and you're gonna be if you want to pick somebody out of society who are going to be a protector and be able to slay the dragons
would
and kill
not
the zombies,
pick them.
you will
Would
die.
Not pick
Everyone
them.
who picks the mindless, coal burning people, those are people who are going to
The
survive.
mindless are the ones
Yes.
with the balls on their truck and the smoke coming out. And
I'm telling you, but
they're
they will
not
win.
the ones who's
They
going to
will
save
win.
society.
they're going to save society. Look at history. Every society's needed the brutes, and the brutes are now being reconvened.
They're not brutes. You're confusing what they're trying
Yeah,
to.
I know. All your soy boys are going to go debate with the zombies, right? And that's going to be real successful.
No. All your soy boys are going to hang balls from their truck and make it really loud and put big tires up because they're compensating for something.
The soy boys are going to get their brains eaten and they're going to be dead. So that's going to be a very short-term compensation, right? They're going to cope. Right. But they brutes with the ball hanging that are really going to pull out a machete and really get to go into work on these zombies are going to live.
I think we're actually talking about three different styles here.
Got it.
There's the soy boy that tries to come off as an intellectual, the slam poetry reading, coffee house hanging out, acoustic guitar playing,
flick them in the nose and they cry.
Soy boy.
Soy boy. That's your soy boy.
Then there's the middle of, I want to be manly, but I'm still very insecure. I don't have a lot of confidence, but I want to project that I feel like I do.
Yeah, those are in training. So
I'm going to go ahead and do all these things and not realize how ridiculous I look because it's inauthentic.
Yeah, but
and then there's
training.
Actual men.
Yeah, there's badasses
who don't have the need to convince anyone. They don't have the need to try to persuade anyone.
Right.
They are just innately secure and know who they are and know their worth and know they're manly. And that's not The middle.
The middle's in training, though. You've cultured them to be
maybe in training,
feminine,
but not.
but they're on their way. And the more they do the testicles on the back and the cyber trucks and the coal burning, the more they get conditioned into the badassery. We need more of them. That's their training.
It's them screaming, will a real man please take me under his wing and show me how to
and I think Navy SEALs should be mentoring those people and saying, okay, well, you've got all of the hallmarks of being a badass, but let's make you into a real badass. Here's a machete. There's a scarecrow over there. I want you to hack the shit out of this, right? And show that you could take out a zombie.
There is actually a term, too, that my husband learned in his unit in the military. And he says, we must be a quiet professional. A quiet professional does not feel the need to brag
That's
and
a
boast
badass.
and shove it in your face.
And that's the thing. You got the soy boys who are, you can't save them. They're just souls that
they're basically girls.
They're dead. Yeah, they're another subsect of girls.
Yeah.
And then you got badasses, and everybody in the middle is going to pick one side. They're either going to say, I want to develop boobs, or I want to be able to slay a dragon. And they're in training.
They're trying desperately
but
to do what they think is
so
the manly
when a fat ass
thing.
is at a gym on a treadmill, they're not a badass yet, but they want to be. They're
doing the right things to get there. Hanging balls from your truck and souping it up and being loud is not doing the right steps to get there.
There's a testosterone gland that's right here, and it's shrunk because of feminism. Like, really convinced guys that they were safe by not exhibiting all the caveman attributes, right? And it's got to grow. It's got to get bigger. So they're priming the testosterone gland right under the lungs right here.
They're doing it wrong.
But they're trying. do not. I want to encourage that behavior. Some of those, maybe 10% of those, those pseudo testosterone generators will become badasses. I don't want 10% of them to become more feminine. I want them to become more badass.
I think, don't you think though, if you do it wrong, then you're walking this equal line of, I could do it right and go in the direction I should.
What's the downside though?
Or I do it wrong and I go towards the soy boys.
If they do it wrong, they become soy boys? No. Balls on the back.
I'm
not walking up to a car.
They're walking it.
No.
And they're like, I did it wrong. I might as well just hang it up.
Now, if you see someone behind their Cybertruck cupping the testicles on the back, then yes, they're going in the wrong direction.
That's basically what they're doing.
Some of them will graduate. That's all I'm saying is we need more testosterone. Because
hopefully they graduate to go, oh my God, I get it. I look like an enormous douche.
Some of them will be like, I'm on the treadmill and I'm 300 pounds. I look like a big slob on this treadmill. I don't fit in it. Some of them will bail out. But some of them will really take it serious and will I like this boost of testosterone in my body. It makes me feel good. I finally have facial hair for the first time in my life. I'm going to keep leaning into this, and one day you may be a badass. And that's what we got to encourage men to not take the feminization of culture and take it seriously. Men have to act like men.
I don't know if it's the acts and doing all these little things that get you there. I think it's just working on the mindset. I've always heard people who are actually wealthy, a lot of them, you don't even know. Right. You can't even tell. They don't flaunt it. If they're flaunting money, they probably don't actually have it.
But they're in training. Again, still those 300-pounders.
People who are actual badasses who don't feel the need to tell everyone they're a badass,
but still
versus someone who keeps trying to tell people, look at what I did. And then you realize you probably haven't actually done anything.
This is the rule of probabilities, right? You do things that make something more likely. It's not everything, but it's some things, right? So if you take a guy who is just vanilla normal, right? And then you convince, I'm going to take two scenarios. Mm-hmm. We're going to call him Bob. Bob's our experiment here. All right. So I want you to tell me, I'm going to give two scenarios for Bob, and you tell me if it's more likely that his balls drop and more likely that his balls recede into his abdomen, right?
Okay.
All right. So let's just say, okay, Bob, you're kind of vanilla. I can't say that you're feminized. I can't say that you're masculine. You're just a regular guy. So first, I'm going to hang a man purse around, sash it right across the shoulder around here. Do you think the man purse makes Bob more likely to feminize or masculine?
He's going to appear more feminine.
He's going to appear more feminine. So if in culture, we take something, we get at a probability that we're going to take a vanilla Bob and make him more feminine versus I want you to strap a hunting rifle to your back. Does that make a probability that he becomes more masculine or feminine?
Stereotypically more masculine.
Okay, so if the culture is more feminine, then you will have more vanilla bobs become more feminine. That's where we find ourselves. We don't have enough masculine people, right? Mm-hmm. Now, does the sash, the man purse, make him absolutely feminine? No, it just makes it more probable. So as we see more things pushing in one direction that makes more masculine versus things pushing more that makes more feminine, we can tell if they're going to be more badasses that are going to protect us, or if they're going to be more soy boys that start crying when they see a zombie. That's my point.
And it's not even so much what you're wearing, what you're got strapped to you. Again, it's the mindset that produces the action. If I see a man holding a woman's purse for her, that's a secure man. If I see a man like, no, I'm not holding that, you scream insecurity.
But it doesn't matter. We don't care about that anymore. Insecurity doesn't matter.
We
don't.
Women do.
It doesn't matter. You're not being pursued anymore. And you're not asking us to slay zombies.
I disagree.
There is no real purpose for a man. We're not slaying dragons. We're not protecting the weak. We're not being there as a big buff companion.
Here's a real life example.
Yeah.
Talked to someone the other day in a professional capacity, did not know this person, have never met this person. Had to call and reach out. When they called back, they immediately offered information such as, sorry, missed your call. I was strapping a ankle monitor to a prisoner. Okay. Well, I was just returning, blah, blah, blah. I had to go in the jail. I couldn't have my phone.
Right.
Great. So do you want to blah, blah, blah? Why did this man feel the need to tell me that?
Because that's the currency of culture, to own people, to take a leverage point and say that I am either better, faster, smarter, prettier, have more money than you, have more testosterone.
He felt the need to impress me.
Yes, that's the currency he was holding. That's the currency he used.
You just said men don't care about impressing women and courting women and chasing women. Well,
hold on.
That man did not have to say any of that.
All right, so let's define what caring meant.
What caring meant?
What does caring mean? When I say men don't care, what I'm saying is they're not going to change their behaviors because someone objects to it, right? So if you don't like, let's just say I came up to you and I flashed $10,000. That's my currency. That's what I developed as a skill, and I'm going to own you by using one of my skill. If you don't like it, I don't give two shits. The next person comes to the road, I'm going to flash $10,000. I'm going to own them too.
That's the thing. You just showed you couldn't own them. So you do it again, and maybe you don't own the next person, and you do it again, and you're like, I'm going to find somebody I can own 100%. This way. And that's what I mean with maybe they're going to go find a certain type, but they are looking and are trying to find a certain type.
You're projecting here, because if you don't care, that if, let's just say you and I, we go out and we're like, hey, here's the challenge. Mm-hmm. We need to have a date by midnight, right?
Yeah.
And you got in there and you ask one person and you get a date, and I have to ask 50 people and to get a date. Do you think if I'm used to asking 50 people before I get a yes, I don't fucking care. It just takes me 50 where it takes you one. Now,
we're both trying to get a date.
Hold on. You reverse it. Now, let's just say you get to number 5 and you get told no. Now you care that you get told no, and you bail out of the competition because it affected you and changed what you did next based on what you were told. I don't care, so I'm going to ask 50 people, and it's not going to hurt my feelings if somebody objects to dating me versus you, who that will really matter.
How do you know it will really matter?
We can do a test. We can do a
picking test. Do a test.
Let an observer tell me that I'm right, because I'm telling you I'm right already, because our definitions of caring.
You're also taking two specific people, whereas before we were talking about generalities.
Yes. But I used an example of a specific person. Like if I'm in a fight and somebody punches me in the face, I don't care that they punch me in the face. I'm going to punch them back. Versus you get in a fight, somebody punches you, and you're done with the fight because you care that somebody hit back.
You also are not what we just described. You are not that insecure, loud, look at me, look how great, look how manly I am person. So you would not care because you are the secure
Well, I
one.
just have different
The
currencies than that
insecure
person.
would.
If I take a person that doesn't have the same currencies that I do to participate, they got to use what they have. So if you use your boobs, right? That's your currency. You use boobs. And let's just say I was like, hey, the only reason you got that speeding ticket is because you flashed some cleavage, right? Right. And if you care, you'd be insulted that I suggest that you use your boobs to get out of a ticket. If you didn't care, you'd be like, yeah, that's the currency I hold. And I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm going to keep getting no tickets. It's just a different currency for you and I.
So what's the currency? Would you say the loud truck, the souped up tires, the black smoke, the balls hanging from it, that's their currency?
Yes.
And do you think that currency works ever?
What do you mean by works?
So obviously, if someone is using a currency, it's for a gain. If I use my boobs to get out of a speeding ticket and it works,
Yes.
my currency did its job. Do you think that currency is doing its job?
You have to define what the job is. If the job is to give in to your manly tendencies, then yes.
The job is to impress people. And
no,
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
No,
let me finish.
No,
the job is to make everyone else think
let me give you a spoiler.
I am a manly man.
No, you
look
think
at me.
that you're projecting. Let me lay it down for you.
Projecting.
Listen.
The news is here.
Okay, when let's just take some of our soy people because they do the same thing. Let me put it out to you. Like, let's just say they do something they know is going to piss people off, right?
The soy boys,
right?
Okay.
They do something that culturally is going to get some repercussions.
Yeah.
And they do it anyway.
I want to make shockwaves.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they did something. It doesn't mean they're insecure. They put a middle finger up to the person that they wanted to piss off, and they took extreme, extreme appreciation for what they were able to do. Manliness is meaning that they don't give two shits about other people. They don't need other people to agree with them in order to do the thing. So if they piss you off, that might be the freaking point. You're projecting and saying you would never do that. You would want to be accepted. And you're expecting a testosterone-laden, academically challenged, on the beginning of the road testosterone junkie, right? Cares that they blew black smoke in your face and you're going to be mad about it. You're thinking, oh, you're just compensating when they're saying I blew black smoke in your face. You're pissed off. And that was the freaking point.
Why do you think that's what they're thinking versus what I think they're thinking?
It's more likely.
Why?
Because there's a testosterone gland that either gets
suppressed. You're making that up. You're making that up. No, listen. You think they're in one headspace, in one mindset, and I think they're in a totally different headspace.
Two different theories. Your theory is wrong. My theory is right.
Oh, that's so manly of you.
We can test it.
So secure of you to say.
We can test it. Let's take someone off the street. Don't tell them that the reason why we're getting them because they might be a little insulted.
Wave their truck over and say,
their feelings
hey,
and make their testicles retract into their body. We don't want to do it. But we'll test them and find out. Listen, we were rolling down the street and
happen to come by.
That thing that you did probably insults a lot of people, right? And then you get to question them and prove your point.
No. You've already put bias into it.
Go ahead.
You've already told them that thing you did is probably insulting people.
Okay, we'll I retract that. We'll just say that thing you did, tell me your reason for it and your rationale for having done that thing. So there were 5 protesters on the road. You came by, you hit the little switch that piped black smoke out of your tailpipe and hit these people with a bunch of black smoke. Now you get to question them and find out if they care whether or not that they piss people off and they didn't get encouraged by other people.
Listen,
or not.
That's a totally different situation.
Give me a better one then.
They're not actively like putting smoke on a group of people.
Yes, they are.
That's an outright malicious act. No, we're saying all they did is go about their day.
Okay, all right. Pick a better example then. If you're going to prove a point, bring something that's real.
Hey, we're asking some passers-by here. Everybody that goes by, we just like to ask them about a few questions about themselves and the vehicles they drive. Okay, I see you have a truck here. Why did you choose this vehicle? Okay, can we take a look at it? Let's see. It's gray. Why'd you choose that color? Oh, you do have an ornament of some kind hanging off your hitch or whatever. Why did you choose to Why did you choose to decorate it that way? Why did you totally unbiased, totally neutral? Let's just hear why you have the things you have, why you look the way you look. That's it. Not why did you go blow smoke in someone's face? That's somebody who's clearly making a point.
What are you fishing for? What do you expect them to say about it? Like what are your
I like that. Oh, it was cool. Oh, I just like that. And they're going to say, this is how I choose to express myself. And I'm going to say, okay. And I can draw a conclusion of why you want to express yourself that way. And you would draw a totally different conclusion.
In your example, who are they looking to impress? Are they looking to impress the women of the village? No.
Everybody.
No.
Men and women.
No.
Yes.
No.
They're like, oh, I'm going to look so cool in front of the men, and all the women will want me.
That's it. Men. Other lunks who have their balls outside their body, who have pipes that are bigger than them, that go faster than them, their bicep radius, all of the things that matter to other people that in a pursuit of more testosterone, they're looking to impress. They're outdoing just a different segment.
So why do you think, I've heard so many people say the same thing about women, that women don't get dressed up for men. They do it for other women.
To be judged by. This is an emotional thing rather than a logical.
But you just said a minute ago that men or women always want to be pursued, and that's why they do things.
Well, that's their currency. To be pursued is a woman's currency. And when people break out and no longer do things for the express purpose of, taking advantage of that pursuit, then feminism kind of breaks at that point. What if I did it? Like if I
don't think this has anything to do with feminism.
It does. It assumes that men will always pursue women for physical attributes and available to bear children and marriage and all of that.
I think you're taking one viewpoint that I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
And you're running with it, and you're saying, and then,
well, you
and then I'm going to assume this.
I'll keep
I'm going to assume this. When all I'm saying is,
women think men will make decisions.
Has nothing to do with women.
Of them, yay or nay?
Nothing to do with women. My point is, a man that projects that scenario, that uses those things, is screaming insecurity. Period. To men. To women, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what he wants to do. Doesn't matter what he feels his currency is. But that's an assumption. The people who would think that person is insecure, what if they're not on his radar as anybody that he's trying to impress? What if he get two shits that that you can
feel
still
like
be a fact?
Doesn't matter if he doesn't care.
And I think he does. I think that proves again, that he does care.
Great. Let's find out if whether or not he cares. If you think that his ball sack on the back of his truck really makes you feel like he's insecure.
He does.
Think of the words.
He is so insecure that he will care that I'm calling him insecure.
And then what are the words you think is going to come out? Hey, Kelin goes up to him and says, "Hey,
the words are going to be totally different than what he's feeling."
So he is going to mask what he says. But he's really insecure, and everything that he says isn't going to matter.
Yes, because actions speak louder than words.
Okay, all right. This is an impasse. We're never going to come to a conclusion on this, but yay feminism for ruining things.
Julie says, so driving a Cybertruck or souped up vehicle by a 5 foot, 200-pound man makes him a badass. LOL.
To a group.
Who's the group?
Whatever group thinks that's amazing. If he is compensating. So if somebody's a short stature and they grow big boobs, if somebody has lots of money, but they're super ugly, like you play the currency that you have.
They're compensating.
Everybody is compensating.
That's what I've been saying.
Everybody is compensating. So we're looking at people who have been feminized that don't like it, and they're developing the testosterone. They're compensating. Women who are using, obvious, structural differences in their bodies and minds to everybody's compensating. So we're referring to a thing that applies to absolutely everyone.
Tom says, God bless America. This is brutal.
America is brutal. We're just a reflection of that.
Nicole says it's called trolling. Kids do not care. Jerry, I believe Joe is talking about self-gratification and labeling all men as not having any secondary reasoning for their actions. Totally wrong. That is like saying provocative dressing women do it just to make themselves feel better. Yeah, right.
They do, though.
Provocative dress women make themselves. I do think sometimes women will do that.
So let me counter Jerry's here. Where as far as like if we lived in a utopia, and I usually take my utopia scenario as if things that don't exist really exist, and everybody was trying to, pursue the moral and ethical compass, and everybody was trying to be chaste, and they were trying to be, above board, then that would be a different story. But we literally don't have anything in culture that resembles something like that. So do men use the currency at hand to be able to get advantage? Yes. Do women use currency at hand to get advantage? Yes. So we have everybody playing the absolute same game. So I take the person that is compensating for X and driving their truck with their ball sack with the person that flashes their boobs and wears a scantily clad to a nightclub. They're playing the same game. Maybe they don't have a great personality, but they've got great boobs. Maybe they don't have a lot of money, but they look really good. Maybe they don't have good looks, but they have a lot of money. Everybody is playing the game of viewing the currency that's at their disposal.
So if a man came up to you and let's say everything in his head he just openly talked about, he's like, hey man, we're at this club together and I'm trying to get some chicks and here are some of the things I'm doing, and you knew it wasn't going to work. If you were like, dude, as somebody who has gotten chicks, let me give you some tips. You're going to want to not do this. Don't wear this. This is going to help you out. Would you offer that advice?
For that guy? Well,
yeah.
It would depend who he's going after. If he's looking at, if he's looking at other people that are compensating, I would tell him that, look at that girl over there who's obviously compensating in a different direction. Go talk about artwork and how, much social activism is important to you. Appeal to her emotional senses. So she's going to manipulate you with physical. You're going to manipulate her with emotional, and you guys might get a date on the end.
So it would matter what he does. You would try to help and guide him and say, yeah, you're going to want to do this, or you're going to not want to do this, because sure. it doesn't get you to your end game.
Sure.
That's what I mean when I see a guy that is putting out the vibe of, here's what I want to be and this is what I'm after. And I say, it's not working. You should change that.
That's assuming certain things. Okay, so let's just say that dude. Do you think there's a portion of society that is ultimately attracted to that?
Probably.
They have girlfriends, you think, and maybe get some wives in there? There's a segment of the populace
and
that think that is really appealing.
Maybe they think
now what you're taking is taking
group.
Someone who's in direct opposition with that, who thinks they're compensating, is not going to like them, and they're going to say, I don't give a shit. I'm going to go after the people who already like this kind of stuff. You don't need to make them congruent and like each other. That's the point.
Chicken says,
thank you, sir.
Thanks. Chicken says, so are they gay? Is who gay? Which one?
Culture has adopted the feminization of everything. And that's why the result of that is the balance swing, the pendulum swing on the other side of things. So if you take and make a bunch of guys like really be okay with dropping a lot of testosterone and eating a lot of soy and being more female than they are male, then the output is going to be, now you're going to have a hyper testosterone, manly group that's in opposition of this. It's part of science.
Do you think men wearing makeup is manly or feminine?
It's compensating.
So why do rock stars that put on thick eyeliner and makeup get so many girls? Because
they're famous. Okay.
So it's not the makeup.
Well, there was a time.
Everything else.
Performers, whether it's theater, whether it's artists, whether it's movie, they all wear makeup because their features need to be more pronounced for the aesthetically pleased audience that wants to see definition in their facial features. So they did it, and then it just kind of caught on that everybody did it. And it's not about appearing more feminine. If you look at like Shakespeare, those guys almost dressed like females when they performed in front of audience. Some of them played outright females.
Yeah.
In theater, it's a different thing. Okay, let's just take a Bill Gates, right? He's got a lot of money. He's got some currency to be able to spend. Can you get a 20-year-old girl right now in a heartbeat to be able to date him and go on his yacht?
If she is a gold digger, yeah.
Okay. So he's using the currency to get the thing that he wants. If there's a famous person, you'd have to say that here's a famous person that wears makeup and a famous person that doesn't wear makeup. Could they both get girls? Well, it wasn't about the makeup that got them girls. If you take a non-feminine or a non-famous person and you get them to wear makeup, they're going to get less girls because women were, for a period of time, pursued masculine qualities because of their protectiveness. This is my village. I need to pair up with someone who's going to protect me and be able to be a provider and go slay deer and so I can eat and whatever. The importance and the priority was survival. So you want to pick the biggest, baddest guy meant that you survived and you made up with someone who provided that for you. The smaller you were, the bigger the guy that you had to find because they were your yang to your yin.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, not to be like squirrel, but this made me think of something. Do you think JD Vance wears eyeliner?
Yes.
Does he?
Well, hold on. He appears to wear eyeliner, but I've never seen him not wear eyeliner, and that would be hard to accomplish.
Yeah, I was like, does he just have thick lashes?
He may be the appearance. He might just have
genetically
thick
dark lashes.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, is he wearing eyeliner?
Might be. I don't know, but I've never seen him not wear it.
Curious.
So I would want one, because eyeliner is not an easy thing to pull off every day, right? So for him to like get made up every day, I find that
there
unlikely.
is also permanent eyeliner. Some women tattoo it on.
Anybody ever ask him? Because that would be a pertinent question.
I don't know. That's what I'm dying to know.
Do you wear eyeliner?
Somebody has had to have asked him by now.
I think they should.
I think everybody wonders that. Everybody on here, tell me you've not wondered if JD Vance is wearing eyeliner.
Is there utility in that? Like if you found out that he wore makeup versus not wear makeup, would that be a deal breaker? Would you feel differently about him?
I mean, makeup in general, they all do. When you got to go on TV, they're going to powder and do stuff. But yeah, JD, if this is an eyeliner, is like a step further. He wants that look. It wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. I don't think he looks bad. So I just am very curious. I wonder if he does.
Now, if Michelle Obama stuffed a sock in her pants to make it appear that she had a penis, would that be a deal breaker? She wants to attract that she's powerful and able to do her own thing.
Would be weird.
Would be a weirdo.
That would be a weird thing to do.
Okay.
That would be a weird thing to do. Chicken says, yes, Vance totally wears eyeliner. They all wear makeup. And again, yes, they all wear makeup. They all have a little something on. I mean, everybody knows Trump's got some orange stuff on his face. It's so clear. But the eyeliner is a step further. And but
when we first see it, like we've adapted into just to be accepting of someone. If they can overcome their physical attributes by being effective, then I wouldn't care about what his eyeliner, as long as he's a good vice president. I don't care how he wears, even if he painted his nails in rainbow colors. Like I would give two shits about it.
He doesn't look bad. It kind of works for him.
He's got a hot wife. I mean, he doesn't need anybody to like. What does physical attributes do to appeal if he's already got a mate? Doesn't need anybody to appreciate his physical characteristics.
Like, could JD Vance be bringing back guyliner?
Maybe.
And not just in like a musician or rock star. Like plenty of rock stars have worn it for years. Could he like make it a thing and every day?
He starts wearing the man purse though. It's game over.
Would you ever try guyliner? And
No.
Isn't it funny that somehow you feel better about it if you call it guyliner, even though it's eyeliner?
Yeah, just like the merce. That's almost like it's a little bit
better about it.
I'll tell you that there are things like when men dabble in things that usually we care about, right? So Luke yesterday went to a barber shop that really went like hair removal and shaving and really preened out. Like he was looked good on the other side of this preening. Usually it's like going to the barber, it's $8. They go chop, and it's like,
give me a number,
good
whatever.
Enough for a guy, right?
Yeah.
But they pulled nose hairs and they shaved hairs.
They
that
do
shouldn't
the
be there.
eyebrow thing,
yes, right.
and the ears.
So
yeah,
a guy would probably like, holy shit, like I really look good, right? And you could go to a bad, sort of like a bad pursuit on saying, well, maybe this physical attribute makes me feel better, so I'm going to do more of that. And then, he sits down and he looks good all the time. And I'm like, and he's got this big flowing hair where he's got, blonde locks at a certain point. And I'm like, you're a total metrosexual. Like, what are you pursuing? You got a wife already. Like, why are you doing this? We loved you before. Your physical attributes had nothing to do with it. Like, it's nice, but like, what's the purpose of it?
Is he doing it for him? Maybe he feels pretty.
It's exactly right. So if eyeliner on JD Vance makes him feel better, it doesn't detract any way I feel about him. He's an effective vice president. I give two shits. I'll get over
it works for him.
If I'm able to get over it in 2 seconds, like, it's not something I would do, but cool. It works for you. I'm cool with
Do you think the like terrible tanner works for Trump? Is it kind
I
of
don't
like
think he gives a shit.
I think it's his thing now.
I don't think he gives a shit.
I saw a Family Guy episode last night and they were making fun of Trump and they had him like orange all over his face. And I'm like, wonder if he would look weird without it now.
Right.
Like sometimes it's just their thing.
Yeah, that's the exhibiting of confidence when you do something that takes on criticism and you don't give two shits. That is a manly thing to do.
Except when you tie a ball sack to your truck.
No,
and
if you don't care, it doesn't matter.
It up and then
doesn't matter.
We
Doesn't
missed some
matter.
good comments, I think. Up. We gotta scroll up.
I'm sure this brought out no comments whatsoever.
If these vehicles in question, the windows are always crazy tinted. Maybe they are doing not for themselves since they are hiding their identity at grave lengths.
And what if they are? What if they, whether or not human beings do things to make themselves feel good or meant to be attractive to another person, that is none of our businesses. Whoever they're appealing to, don't care. So if I'm like Rolex and I'm like, my target market is rich people, the poor people are like, hey, why aren't you coming after me? Like, I've got money to spend. And Rolex is like, shut up. We're not coming after you. We don't care what you think. I put a band that costs $10,000. Hey, we can't afford $10,000 bands. And Rolex is like, shut up. I'm not coming after you.
You're not my demographic.
You're not my type. I'm not looking to. So you can complain, right? But there's a certain point like, oh, like we are off the radar of that company. Do I want to be part of who they pay attention to or don't I care?
And that's our disagreement.
Yes.
I'm in total agreement with you until you say they don't care. And I say, I think they do.
All right, let me say, if they don't care, which they likely do not.
No,
I don't know that they care.
If they don't care, they probably do. But if they don't,
easy test.
It's fine.
You go up to their window and say, hey, I'm Kelin. I'm a normie, middle-aged white woman. And I don't think that ball sack on the back of your truck does anything for you. And I think you should take it off. And if they say, you know what? You're freaking right. I'm going to take that ball sack off right now. Then you win.
Then what do I get?
Then
what do I get?
If I say, hey, dude, like one ball sack is good, but two ball sacks would be better. If he puts a two ball sack out there, then I know that he was catering to how I felt about him. Didn't give two shits about you because he did nothing.
He catered to you and
Totally
liked the idea of more balls.
More balls. More balls, always better. Always better.
That's when you know he's probably gay. Jerry says, have a great day. This overweight bald guy is going to the dealership to buy a Cybertruck instead of rubber balls to hang off the hinge.
Win. That is a win. That is a win.
Chicken says, yes, Vance totally wears eyeliner. They all wear makeup. Yes. JD might have the same glam squad as Trump with his horrific spray tan. No, I think JD's glam squad is better. I think JD looks pretty decent. Trump may want to tone that thing. Like Tanner, sure. But it's a little too orange. I think we all know that. But that's, again, is that his thing now?
Again,
that's his thing.
If the media would get interested to see what it is, he might say something like, well, I have this scientist over here that formulated a special blend that allows my skin to last like 97 years. And I bought into it and I want to do that. It makes my skin orange, but I'm willing to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay, appreciation. You're trying something different, being off the grid a little bit. We'll see if that works out for you.
Yeah. Yeah. JD Vance is a bot politician. I'm sure he'd wear whatever they'd tell him to. But it's not like it just started when he got to where he is. We've always known him to look like that, haven't we?
I met him before he was vice president, and he looked exactly like that.
You met him in person?
Yeah.
Did it look like he had eyeliner on?
Same as he does right now. There's nothing different. I stood right next to him. There was, I think Ted Cruz came to Columbiana.
Yeah.
And when Ted Cruz was doing, he was stumping for another representative, and they brought the bus in, and I don't remember who was running. It was a long time ago. And JD Vance was there, and he was tall as fuck. And
really?
I'm standing next to JD Vance and Bill Johnson. And this dude, young guy, was talking about politics, and I really liked him. And it's cool to be able to say that you met the vice president before he was there. Yeah, he was a cool guy. Like, I appreciate it.
Did you see his Halloween costume? So, leading up to Halloween, people who don't like JD Vance made a meme. Like all these liberals made him into this really fat, chubby face.
Oh,
long
yes.
curly headed thing.
And he played
That's
it up.
what he was for Halloween.
Yes.
He put a wig on and he became the meme and totally embraced it.
Loved
I'm like,
it.
that's hilarious.
Is that confidence?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
little
confidence.
testosterone-laden confidence.
That is I am so secure, I'll make fun of myself.
Okay.
Whereas, like, have you ever heard the term little man syndrome?
Mm-hmm.
So
have I heard of it? Have I
listen,
heard
I
of
wanted
it?
to be respectful and ask it, not assume. So little man syndrome, people use that when a man with shorter stature is coming across as insecure, overly irate or overly combative or trying to prove themselves, and it's just a little too obvious because somebody who is secure doesn't feel the need to do all those things. Right. And like I still do sometimes. My husband is short and I tease him all the time and he cracks jokes about it all the time. And, one time I was like, oh, he mouthed off to me. So I put his favorite coffee mug way high up on the highest shelf and he climbed up and he got it. And I took a picture of him standing on the kitchen counter and we posted it. We all laughed and he shared it because he's secure and it doesn't bother him.
You know who's not secure? Basic bitch syndrome, where somebody who's just a basic bitch gets themselves all dolled up. And when you say, I'm going to make fun of basic bitch syndrome, and they're I'm not that.
Yep, same thing. Like if I go out and I say, ooh, it's fall, I'm going to put on Ugg boots and get a pumpkin spice latte.
Basic bitch
I'm
syndrome.
A basic bitch. And if you embrace that and you laugh about it, you seem 100%, secure.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're like, oh my God, you're such a jerk.
So we really standardize it. If the person that's challenged on the compensation of the currency spend cares, then they're definitionally insecure. If the person's like, heck you, I don't care, then they are secure. So if they do a different thing and they don't care, they are. So if you decide that even though they don't care, they're still insecure, wrong projection.
Not at all what I've decided.
Okay.
I've decided
so if a guy,
they do care. They clearly care.
That is the definition of projecting. If Bob doesn't care, but you do.
How do you know if they care or not?
I don't know.
Exactly.
But I'm saying if they don't care, that is a pre-qualifier.
We are arguing over a hypothetical situation.
And I am suggesting we experiment with it, and I know I'm going to be right. If they say, I don't care.
What if I know I'm going to be right?
They are confident. But you're coming to the conclusion that they're insecure without even asking them.
And you're coming to the conclusion that they are secure without even asking them.
I am only suggesting that we need to ask them, period.
I agree.
Okay.
Brian says it's not a purse, merce. It's a satchel. Get it right.
Here's my
satchel.
requirement. And this is going to go back to 1800s, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the Southwest and you got a leather pouch that holds your bullets in there and it's across it's for gun use, right? If it's all made of leather, right? And it don't have bullets, it's not a satchel. So really, if someone claims that they have a satchel, flip that zipper open. And in fact, it should be a snap, not a zipper. But if what falls out of there is very feminine in nature, it's a merce. That is the prerequisite.
A snap, not a zipper?
It has to be a snap, yeah.
Why?
Satchels have snaps.
Purses have zippers?
Yeah, or a little turny thing, like you have a little clasp that keeps
I've seen purses that have snaps.
Yeah, that's a little masculine. I think women should have zippers. That's feminine.
A zipper and a snap can be masculine and feminine?
You got to be careful to not jump across the line of if it's a purse for a woman, make it feminine. If it's a satchel for a man, make it masculine. And there's rules that we follow.
By adding a snap, not a zipper.
Snap for men, zippers for women. I don't make the rules.
Men's jeans have zippers.
Right.
Have you ever seen a pair of men's jeans?
I'm not saying zippers are ultimately feminine. I'm saying a zipper on a purse versus satchel is feminine.
What about buttons?
What do you mean?
Like the top of your jeans, this is like a button through a loop.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen men's jeans that are button fly?
Yeah, buttons are more masculine than snaps.
They make button fly men's jeans.
Yes, they
that's
certainly
feminine.
do. No, it's
that's
not.
a feminine thing.
Button is, again,
button
going
fly
back to the
is
Southwest,
a female thing.
and you walk into Tombstone, Arizona, you got jeans, and there are buttons.
I want anybody watching this show right now to tell me that a button fly jean is not just a woman thing.
I'm not going to say the whole fly. I'm going to say the top button needs to be a button, not a snap.
Top button is unisex. Absolutely.
Right.
I'm saying a button fly.
Yeah, I wouldn't go the whole button fly. The
that's
zipper's appropriate.
feminine.
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, I can't wait for you to put on some button fly jeans, and I'm not going to laugh and laugh.
All right. So, so the signed into law yesterday, the continuing resolution, not a clean continuing resolutions anymore. The government shutdown has ended. Do you see what they added in there?
No.
And I don't know how they were
just
able
like,
there's a lot of shady shit going on in this continuing resolution because it is argued and presented as just an extension of the previous budget. Give us more time to be able to take the Unaffordable Care Act and negotiate a little bit more. But what happened during those hearings is what came out is that there were 8 Republican senators that were investigated by Jack Smith at the time, and their phones were compromised where they collected data on senators for the sake of prosecuting Republicans. And so in this, they gave the ability that if there are any senators that were where the Justice Department overstepped their bounds, they can sue, right, the Justice Department for up to $500,000. So that's 500,000 times 8 people, $4 million. That then those senators are able to use the punitive damages of the legal system.
Really?
Yep. But that was snuck in there, and it passed the House last night, and then it's signed last night by the president.
When you say it was snuck in there,
yes.
Like, did everybody who voted on this know it was in there?
Yes. It was part of the compromise.
Okay, so it wasn't snuck in.
Snuck in as in we had, 2 months of this is just a clean continuing resolution. No additional things.
And the fact that it can still be changed.
The day before they vote on it, now it is part of the punitive damages part of that continuing resolution. That's why I say snuck.
This is all such a joke.
It is.
And a game. A game they're all playing. Theater for the American people. They all know exactly what they're doing and when they're doing it and how this is going to go down. And
the Democrat representatives were sworn in yesterday as well. This was the tie-breaking vote whether or not the congressional hearing or congressional committee that was looking into the Epstein files, all Democrats, were going to release the Epstein files, right? Mm-hmm. And they needed this lady to be sworn in order to release the Epstein files. And then all of a sudden we get an excerpt, right, from a previous one of the women who were part of the people who were abused.
One of the victims.
And immediately it was she said that Trump was involved, right? It was just a one segment. Her name was redacted from the email. And I don't remember the context or what was said, but it was basically the first implication that Trump was involved and this person said it. Now, this lady died a year ago. They figured out who was redacted from that document. And that same person previous, when they were questioned, exonerated President Trump. But when they floated the email that implicated him, so now you have an exoneration before she died, and now an implication after she's already passed. As a voter, like you're looking at both of these things, and you had a woman that said both things. She said he was part of it, and then she also said that it was not part of it. So you as a person, like, if you're a Democrat, you're like, I know which one I want you to pay attention to. I want you to pay attention to the implication email, and don't worry about the depositions where she said that he wasn't involved. And if you're a Republican, you're like, don't pay attention to what she said before. The depositions are. So here's my big problem with how things roll out. When the Justice Department looks into people who break the law, do you expect them when they come up with people to indict that sometimes there's Democrats and sometimes there's Republicans?
I would think.
What would you think about it if when your Justice Department was investigating, all they come up with is Democrats? What would you think about that?
I think that's pretty biased and probably a bot organization.
And if you are investigating the Epstein files and all you come up with is Republicans, what do you think of that?
Same thing. Pretty biased. They're in the pocket
Right.
of somebody.
It's a weaponization of systems to be able to fill an end that's already been predetermined. So I don't trust the Justice Department when all they come up with is Democrats, and I don't trust the group that's investigating Epstein when all they come up with is Republicans. It's all a farce.
It's all a joke. Do you think there even is, every time someone says release the Epstein files, do you think there is such a thing?
I don't.
I don't either.
Yeah, 10 years of people who are guilty being in control of evidence that disappeared long ago.
I don't think there is. I think a lot of people in the general public are picturing this like this list on paper of all the names. Who abused women? These people. Let us see it. I don't think that exists. I don't think that's a thing. I don't believe it maybe ever was a thing.
That is correct. I agree with you.
Yeah, because I don't think people like Epstein and Maxwell and Trump and anybody who may even know the guy, do business with him, be involved in any illegal doings, anybody in that realm whatsoever is not going to put it on paper as the biggest, hardest piece of evidence that anybody could ever find.
In what circumstance would they? If they were part of CIA or Mossad operations where they're collecting data, you wouldn't put that into the public record.
Yeah.
That's feeding into...
Like if I'm Epstein and I know what I'm doing and I'm breaking the law and I'm abusing people and I'm doing things that are so illegal and immoral and could be very damaging to me. And somebody comes up and is like, hey, by the way, I think maybe we should document our clients, don't you think? And maybe document what they're doing and sign here who all exactly is coming to our island and abusing girls. Can we get those names? I'd be like, what are you, a freaking rat? Get out of here. Like, does everybody think they were that stupid to have hard evidence on paper that like one day we're just going to like find this notebook of absolutely everything that happened and it's been documented the whole time? That would be so fishy to me that, again, I don't think it exists. I don't think it ever existed. I think it's going to just be he said, she said.
Political hay. That's all that's going to come out of this is circumstantial, peripheral type of information that gives you political advantage.
You even hear people say, oh, well, we know Trump was involved. I don't doubt that Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein. I don't doubt that Trump was ever around Epstein, was ever doing business with him, hanging out with him, probably on his plane. I am sure Donald Trump's name is on something, a flight. What do you call those? Like a flight log, anything of that nature. That is the only evidence we'll ever have is who was around him and maybe when and maybe where, maybe. But anything that is hardcore criminal evidence of wrongdoings, of assault, I don't think that exists.
All right. So I've made a compromise on this whole thing. I think because it's historical, there's not enough evidence to bring justice to anybody. But I would really insist that there are things like this that exist right now. So use the what was possible in politics to almost stop it. If you know that you can't do anything about what had happened, at least make sure that it's not happening today. And if there are people doing things that are under the radar, make it not under the radar anymore. Make it really, at a big disadvantage to participate in things like that. Do you think there is a pedophilia ring in the United States right now amongst people who are, on the upper crust?
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. If it exists, then roll all of your effort into exposing the ones that right now you can get evidence on. You can take people who are doing really dastardly things and put them in prison. That would make me feel better, at least if we use this to learn from those mistakes and make sure that it doesn't happen anywhere. But where is the law enforcement's job of drawing that whole... I believe there's an ecosystem. It's happened throughout time. You take kings and you take early civilizations. What do you think rich, powerful people did? Do you think they treated everybody nicely and didn't exploit things? Or do you think they F 12-year-olds and got away with it because of the positions they held?
Yeah.
Totally. Let's make sure that's not happening right now.
I mean, even if you take sort of 12-year-olds out of it, I mean, you had Harvey Weinstein, Diddy, what was this other? I can't think of the other example I was just thinking of, but it happens. We know it happens. We know people are inappropriate. We know abuse goes on. We know that it can even be turned into like a professional thing where they seek out and have people involved to sort of make it happen and maybe even make money off of it. It's not a new concept. It does happen. Is there like one large ring? I don't know, but I'm sure it's here and there. I'm sure it happens maybe on a smaller scale. Do you think that calling out Diddy and his parties and everything happened there is maybe one step in the direction of the general public shining a light on things of that nature and maybe not?
I think what it does is it takes extraordinary behavior. The rest of us think that the Diddy parties were something that was rare, and it makes everyone that's participating in commonly across, they look up and say, oh, Diddy just went to jail for this. This is going to get us into a bunch of trouble. This is a threat to our, how we're enjoying and entertaining ourselves. Let's do less of it. So more examples that we make of people, us not tolerating that behavior maybe tamps it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for years, everybody knew about Hugh Hefner and the Playboy Mansion. Do we think nothing inappropriate ever went on with anybody in the circle of a Playboy Mansion and bunnies and Hugh Hefner and Playboy in general? And I'm sure something was going on there.
Do you remember that Kevin Spacey movie where it was about capital punishment and he was an activist for innocent, it was almost like an Innocence Project, where he structured, I think he was a professor, and he structured it so that everybody would think that he killed somebody. But he didn't really kill somebody, but he put himself as a martyr to see how long the system would take him through before they wanted to execute someone who truly did not deserve it.
Oh, right? I gotta see this.
It was a really good movie. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, all it would really take is, let's just say you and I, we put our dollars together. We go buy an island down in the Caribbean, and we're going to be like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to see if we can get away with creating Joe's Island right now, just doing the exact same thing that we thought Epstein. Could I get away with? Is there a pushback on it? So what do? I buy the property. Nothing illegal about buying a property, right? Mm-hmm. And then I invite a bunch of rich people down to my property to be able to talk business, and people show up and I serve them coffee and like, hey, we can really ramp things up again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around to some masseuses down in Miami and be like, I want you to come down to my Caribbean things, and I'm going to pay you $10,000, and you're just going to massages these people while they're drinking coffee with me, and they're more likely to say yes to my business deal if you're giving them a massage at the same time.
And you can be like, hey, Kelin, why don't we make this seem like a fun place to be? Why don't you go out and gather up some friends and some other people, and bring them all down.
All right. And then a couple of those people that you all invite down, they already live in the pillars, the white ivory towers. And they're like, hey, Joe, like these girls that you sent down here, they're kind of nice, but can you get a little younger? I like girls that are like 19, 18. Can you get a couple of those ones? And then we're like, oh, absolutely. Now, Kelin, go out. Jelaine, I'll just call you Jelaine. Jelaine, why don't you go up to Miami and find some younger ones? The masseuses are good. They're doing a great job, but these guys would prefer and say yes a lot more often if you brought in some 18, 9-year-olds.
Let's just make a hip atmosphere and something that's fun, and okay, yeah, let's get some young, hip, fun people that want to dance.
Now in Miami, you've talked to everybody. Now Jelaine has to bring in some people that are young. Maybe they got some identification that you can't tell how old they are, but we kind of fit them in there.
Yeah. Maybe the 18, 19-year-old I was talking to has a friend who's younger.
She's beautiful.
And sure, bring your friend along. I don't mind.
They will love her here. So you can see how this will just escalate, where we keep bringing in this bait into these people. We've got now Mossad comes along, says, hey, Joe, I see you've got these important people. Can you take what you're doing here and get some blackmail on a couple of these people? We want the prince of whatever, Uganda, came to you and you negotiated a legit deal for finance. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to protect you from everything. I'm going to make sure that you don't go to prison. But what I want you to do is when that prince comes down here next time, I'm going to take a 16-year-old from a throwaway country where this life doesn't even matter. The parents don't even exist. Like, there's no 0% you're getting in trouble. Turn on a camera, get the prince with this 16-year-old, right? After it happens, send me the footage. Then I'm going to go to the prince and say, hey, we're Mossad, and we want you not to kill Jews in your country. And I have video of you with a 16-year-old that's proven a 16-year-old. Now, the prince, now instead of Jeffrey getting business deals and finance done, now Mossad or the CIA or whoever's controlling them now can control the prince in Uganda. And they're like, oh, all we did was have to sacrifice a 16-year-old from Uganda that nobody would miss if they turn up dead in a river somewhere. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to flood you with more and more compromising candidates. And I want you to keep getting these, make them do drugs, make them get with younger women, make them say lies on film. And everything that you do will allow me to control all of these leaders around the world. National security. You're doing a service to all of these countries by getting me to control all of these bad people. And then we're like, huh, Intel comes there. Intel spends a lot of money. Now the CIA is like, I would really love to control Intel and make them do things on my command. Let's see if we can invite the president of Intel. Sorry, Intel. I'm just using you as an example. Make him come down.
Sued.
And I'm going to use that 16-year-old girl thing again. Ugandan girl comes in, gives you a massage, got you on tape. You do a couple things. You say a couple things. You do a couple drugs. Now I control Intel. Now, dude, I'm intoxicated by the control that I can get on all people. All right. So Joe Island can happen right now, and it would play out right now. Tell me a force. If all the law enforcement that's at the top edge of control, right? Do you see a state highway patrolman being able to intervene when the CIA is running an operation? No. International community, Mossad, do you see anybody intervening and making Mossad stand down so they don't do this terrible thing to save international security? No. So they can just do it again. All I got to do is talk to the right people. I would send an email right now to Mossad and the CIA and say, hey, I know lets me get away with all this stuff. Get you involved, and then no other law enforcement can touch me because you're at the top of law enforcement, and you can disband and dispatch all of the people that try to out me for bringing in 16-year-olds from Uganda. Perfect plan. Nothing's going to stop me from doing it right now.
That's sick. We have a whole bunch of comments on this too.
I'm sure we do.
We've known for years Trump was involved. It all depends on how much you care about the children. Liam says, Avi, the email is from before she was passed, LOL. So I think it says more. What you say in private versus public is different. Normally more truth in private.
You know what would be really valuable right now?
What?
I don't care if people go after Trump, but the way that Democrats went after Trump, they sort of like Boy Who Cried Wolf over everything. So when you say something, I would like to halfway give it some credibility.
Yeah.
But you kind of overplayed the I hate Trump and I'm going to say all this. The Trump derangement syndrome ruined everything, every accusation that a Democrat will ever make.
Yeah. They shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
They overdid it, and now nobody believes anything they say. Liam says, y'all don't know how the system works. Courts release the info. It's not like a senator controls the courts or the president, LOL. So even old info can't get deleted if they don't know about it.
Can't get deleted. I object to that. So, okay. So we do a lot of paperwork. We do a lot of digital deal. Is there a way? I'm doing shady deals, right? And I know that if I send an email, it's captured on my corporate email server. But if I'm doing a shady deal, I am not going to put the communication through the one that I know is being monitored. Yeah. I'm going to do it a different way that I'm smart. I'm a lawyer. I know what's not going to put me in a compromising position. So that's the digital side of things. You can get around that. Yeah. How about putting an email server in your bathroom, right? Having a separate email server that you can put things that nobody has record of, and I can kill it, AKA Hillary Clinton, right? That would be a way of circumventing the data path, the paper trail to what I did. The second would be paper records. Okay. So there is there's a pathway that paper takes when it becomes part of the official federal record. Right. And so somebody takes possession of it, and you can't ever thwart that pathway that the paperwork takes. So all I would, if I was an attorney, and I would say, if this is a sacred thing, then we don't see any paper trails escaping that pathway where it becomes part of the permanent record and nobody can destroy it. So there might be a room that has no paper shredders and no open flames, that every piece of paperwork can't be taken out of there. They're all vouched for, and you have to sign things out when you use them as part of cases. And then you have stuff that isn't part of that record. If you can circumvent that pathway that paperwork takes, then what's in there only intended to be in there. Things that were kept out of there, we got a bunch of lawyers here. They know what needs to not follow the pathway that will put them in harm's way. I watch Suits. I know.
I find it so funny when people on the internet assume they know more.
Yes.
Than the professionals that have been looking into this and living it for years up close and personal. Like 20-something-year-old Joe Schmo in Youngstown, Ohio knows more than anybody in Washington who's been in the meetings, looking at the intel, working with people behind the scenes, up close and personal with everyone involved. I can't believe you know more than all of them.
Well, here's an example. If you think, so you have to take logical steps to find out if this is sacred or not. Do you think that every public official is treated and they have to adhere to all the same processes? Or do you think there are people that are exempt from processes and basically just say, don't you know who I am?
Oh, yeah. Sure. People can say,
if the chain of custody of a piece of paper requires that you sign things out and write your badge number down on a piece of paper, do you think there is somebody that above that person that if you're like, hey, sir, I'm going to need your badge, they say, don't you know who I am? And don't have to follow chain of custody?
Yeah, 100%.
Have you seen it in real life? Have you seen people who know that the regular rules don't apply to them? And do you think the group of people in government that are part of the CIA, part of the administration, part of the FBI, people of law enforcement, are there people in those groups that are above that rules don't apply to me line? Let's just say John Brennan walks in to the archives of stuff. And he's like, there's some shit on here on people that have told me that they need this stuff to disappear. I'm going to walk in here, go to this pouch that says secure. I'm going to pull out those 2 documents. Now I have them in my hand. I'm like, can't do anything about it. Now he walks up to the front desk where the lady who is responsible, right, for making sure what he has in his hand either gets stuffed down in his pants, in his shirt, or just walks out and says, I'm taking this. And the lady's like, I'm going to need your badge number. And he's like, I'm Brennan. Like, I am the head, right? That doesn't apply to me. And that lady's like, oh, I'm not going to get fired over this. And he walks out with that document. Now, when that burns up, you can always say he broke chain of custody.
Yeah.
But what did he take? There's no record of it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can get him. He might serve 6 months in jail for breaking chain of custody, but we don't know what he took and what he destroyed. But now it's gone. And it doesn't matter. Now that person is protected and he sacrificed 6 months.
And there's multiple ways to look at it, too. You can go about it that way. You can say, sure, what do you want me to sign? I'll sign anything. Here's what I'm taking. Bye. Signed it. And then everybody else goes, oh, hey, look, he took that thing on this date and he did this with it. And they're like, well, but it's Brandon. Like, we gotta just let him have it. Like there's so many different ways somebody can be insulated.
Right. So to think after 10 years with a lot of people that are in high power positions, that the evidence on them didn't walk out the door, get compromised or discarded or lit on fire is a 0 probability or the 100% probability that happened.
And again, the fact that evidence wasn't already analyzed before it was considered evidence. Like it already probably had all kinds of like holes shot through a theory of what happened and could this be actual evidence and does this really prove anything or is this like it's a whole legal system. Somebody could say, hey, look, I've got evidence that somebody did whatever. And any high paid attorney could be like, you think that's evidence? That proves nothing. It doesn't say this. Where's this? Where's that? Like there's so many other variables that go into this that how could we ever know what's true, what isn't, what's credible, what isn't, what actually happened? Like, could it be justified? Is there a logical explanation? Is there not? Like, this is so deep into the malarkey of the whole situation, which is why it's been how many years now And we are no closer at all to finding any form of justice for the victims or truth about what happened or who was involved. That is completely still hidden from us. Oh, but we know what it's going to do.
They ruin their chances because I just think if I've got a reasonable judge across from me and I come with something I pulled from the archives and says, Trump is implicated. This is an email. Trump is implicated here in this email. And I'm going to defend against it and say, hey, this dude who just gave you some of the archives, this dude also planted a piece of evidence at Mar-a-Lago so that he wanted to get Trump for having secure documents in his residence. And they planted a cover sheet that said top secret on it. So this person who planted evidence that said it was top secret, this person also just gave you. Now, should I throw both of these out because you have the ability to want to frame somebody by using planted evidence versus things you say you got out of the archives, and is it true or legitimate?
Yeah, this whole process is involving two parties that hate each other and would do anything to see the other suffer, and all you have to do is use that as a defense. How can we trust that side? They've done everything they could to try to defame and make our side look bad and spread lies. And then how can we trust this side? Because they've done everything they could do to make that side look bad and make them take the fall for something. Like, that's your biggest argument right there, is you can't even trust anybody.
We do not trust the people to be, the two tiers of justice where people break the laws and they're, important and they don't go to prison. But in regular society, you do a quarter of what they did and you go to jail for life.
Yep. Julie says, there are thousands of emails now coming out. I only read about 20 of them, and they are pretty damning. There are videos and pictures that the author, Michael Wolff, has seen.
Yeah, I'm waiting until somebody sort of like digs through them, because I think there were 2,500 pages that were released, and see what it is. And I want to know that they're complete. I want to know that there are other names other than Trump in this pile of documents, because that's really what's important to us.
Carter says, please explain to me, when Biden was in office for 4 years, not a peep about it from the Democrats. Why now is it an issue? I'm sure Epstein was a POS, but he is dead. It all goes back to getting Trump. We are sick of it. You can only cry wolf so many times.
Yeah. And I don't, let's just say you're a high school athlete and, you were a little promiscuous. You use your fame and notoriety to, get laid a whole lot. And then you basically sign a contract for $20 million. And there's a whole host of people that all of a sudden come to the conclusion right when you got that contract that all of a sudden you sexually assaulted them, right? The timing is an element. I'm not saying that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm saying, why now? Like, is it related to the $10 million? Like, would you be saying this if the person you weren't gunning for at the time and some of their money? And it's always an element, not the whole element, but part of it.
Absolutely it is. Julie says, are you good with protecting the pedos, even if it is your hero?
Number one, nobody's my hero.
Yeah.
A couple people. Maybe Elon is. Maybe Elon's a hero of mine. Anybody who preys upon other people is my enemy, right? And I would, when you have information, all that I require from you is give me good data. Don't market to me and try to get me to feel something about it, because the moment you do that, I know you're skewed and you're going to try to buy me into your ideas rather than just supply me the information. It's that I don't trust you, right?
Yeah.
So what I know about Trump at this point, he was a playboy for, as long as I was a kid before he became president. So if you suggest to me that he had lots of sex with people, I'm going to say he probably did. Mm-hmm. And when he became famous, I'm sure a lot of those people did the athlete example. There was a lot to dig into. And if you can say that he wasn't nice or he did it below board, that there were probably some suspect things that he did. And great, if he broke the law, just like anybody else, I want him to have justice served to him. But from that moment on, where you piled on and you made everything seem like it was whatever, that's when I started distrusting that you were being dramatic because you don't like the guy, rather than just telling me the details and the data of it. All of the people who are in the emails or did depositions, Ghislaine Maxwell is a good example. She's in prison for 20 years. Okay. So when I listened to her testimony, when she was being, maybe 6 months ago, she was questioned again for all of the things that happened. I had to put that through a filter.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What is their incentive for talking? Right? Let out of jail, become a witness, sent to an easier prison. There was some deal making that's going on. Everything that came through out of her mouth had to be put through the filter of how much truth are we going to get out of a person that if she throws somebody under the bus, her life is going to get easier.
Or she could get killed depending on what she says.
100%. So we know the deal making that's happening there. So you can't take everything she said. If she says, yeah, Trump was never there, you got to look at that suspiciously because that's the person that's in control of her future.
Yeah.
Right. So to remove him from being implicated, I'm putting that through she's not going to probably out that guy when he's in control of her future. And the other way around, who benefits from what you do say about it? If the guy that you don't like, that you want to see in prison, and you give me information, right, it's probably going to be out of context and put in the worst light possible. So it seems like he's saying that thing. I watched you guys say very fine people thing, right? I watched the deal and I watched how you framed it later on to make it say what you wanted because you hated the guy. Yeah. So it's on me. I agree with that. You have shot me a bunch of times and I'm a little bit sensitive to the next thing you say, no matter what you say, is I'm trying to figure out like what's in it for you. Why are you saying this? And why, the thing that you're saying and why you're saying it is really important to me.
Yep. Not 1 ounce of evidence, just Democrat speculation. Let's talk about Clinton and Bill Gates.
Yeah, it's just political hay. And even those other things like how they're going to go after Clinton and how they're going to go after Obama, like I have to put that through the same filter. You have a war going on between two parties and they're looking to slap people with sanctions and jail and, and embarrassing them publicly because it makes them, that's the reason they're doing it. So the girls and the sex and the athlete, they were doing it because you got a good contract. They wanted a piece of it. They want to pay out. And politically, you have somebody that you can frame in a negative light, diminish them and give you, it's the same transaction as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Brian says, Julie, if you think this is only one side of the political spectrum, you are sorely mistaken. The Epstein transgressions run far deeper than one-sided politics or even Washington itself.
Internationally is what I'm suspicious of. And I won't use absolute terms because I don't know any more than you, but logic says that this is a lot bigger. The reason it's kept quiet is because this takes the whole can of worms and it doesn't open it from the top. It cuts it from the sides and just goes, and we can't handle what it's about to release on us.
Julie says, if Trump had not run and been elected, he would be in prison right beside Ghislaine, and rightfully so.
Well, he only got indicted the way that he did because he ran. So if you go back before he ran, there's no way that they would have taken aim at him like they did. Those are fictitious felonies. Those are political felonies.
That's more boy crying wolf.
It's the opposite. So normally you have the higher crust that the rules don't apply to them, right? And so if it were just you and I and we did something, we'd get a warning or we get a ticket or whatever. He was the opposite of that, where he got more than any other person on the planet would have gotten for the indiscretion. So that was lopsided in the other direction. And I'd like to see more of that. I would like to see politicians held to a higher standard. So if I would do a sexual assault, right, then I would go through what the maximum penalties or the negotiated penalties that I would have for it. If somebody in Congress does a sexual assault, they go to the little payoff till and they pay them off. And we're looking at it and say, you and I did the same thing.
Yep.
I had to go through a court proceedings and I ultimately had to pay fines and I probably did some jail time. You ran over to a till, paid them a bunch of money, and then they quieted and they went away. Not the same repercussions.
Yeah.
And I did not do a sexual assault, by the way.
Julie says, you have to suspend all logic to think Trump is not guilty. How do you figure?
Okay. Possibility he is guilty. I don't know enough to know that he is guilty. So I listen, I subscribe to the actual word logic, where you have to make a leap that doesn't start guessing and hypothesizing. It has to be tested and evidence-based. So logic means here's how far I can get. He was a playboy. He had some tendencies that I would not be proud of. I didn't like his personality type. leads to a possibility they did more stuff that I wouldn't like once he got into office,
Mhm.
right? So all it's going to take is give me some evidence, right,
Mhm.
that I don't have another explanation for. So if it would be, let's just say Tom Homan, right? Tom Homan was one of those things they wanted you to believe. A logical step is that you have a guy that's in a powerful position and somebody hands you a bag of cash, right, for $50,000. Is that the only possibility that it was a payoff? Or are there other possibilities that it might have been?
There's probably other possibilities.
There are other possibilities. What if you were a consultant, right? And somebody owed you $50,000. And then, well, logic would say, well, if you're a consultant, that's a business expense and I'd pay you by check or wire transfer. I wouldn't give you a bag of cash. That seems highly suspicious.
Yeah.
So the next line of questioning is, why a bag of cash? And then Tom Homan, if I'm playing the Tom Homan role, well, it would be poor optics as a politician for me to take any payment. So I told them if they're going to use my services, it has to be off books. It's going to look very poorly if I take a consultation payment when I'm in a professional capacity, and you're going to give it to me in cash, or I'm not going to do the work at all.
Mm-hmm.
So both of those hypotheticals are possibilities, and we only need one thread to see which one is true, right?
Yeah.
Was it a payoff where, okay, somebody did something for you, or you were a consultant, they gave you $50,000. What did they buy for that $50,000? Look at what you did next. And if you gave someone a totally off the books decision on something, you know what you just paid for. So give me your evidence. Do what a lawyer would do. Play that thing out, and then play it in the other direction. And say, if you were a consultant and I gave you $50,000 and you didn't want it on your official books and you were willing to not take the tax write-off to give me $50,000, play that out in the other direction. One of those is not going to be absolute. There's only going to be one more probable than the other. And that's what our court systems do, weigh out those two hypotheticals. Where's the court? Where's the system to be able to tell the voters and the taxpayers which of those two scenarios were the accurate one? It disappeared, right?
Yeah.
Do I want to know still? Yeah. Do I believe the people that say it was a payoff? No, they're picking 50% of the equation. It could be this one, and I want to know which one it is. So is Trump a bad person in certain respects? Yes. Proven, evidence-based. He's not a great person when it comes to certain things. The things you're accusing him of, is he guilty of? Well, you could say if a bad person is more likely to do more bad things, cool. One thread is all it takes to get me to your side, and that's the evidence. I don't need to take a leap of illogic to be able to get there. I'm not going to suppose it because this person could do bad things or good things that I'm determined to make it the bad things. Just want to know which one it is.
Yeah.
Why am I screaming today? I freaking yelled this entire show. And I don't like it.
Let's see. Carter says logic and proof are two different things in our legal society. Julie says Trump took thousands of secret and classified documents, showed them to his guests at ML Mar-a-Lago, and got away with it because he bought a judge.
Half the story. Could be that one. Could be another one.
Carter says, what was Biden's excuse? And Jet says, that tears it. Elon is my hero. Goodbye.
People hate Elon. I love him. I love him.
Carter says, she was talking about me, I think, Joe. My hero is Kelin.
Totally flirting with Kelin. Carter,
That's
come on.
Okay.
Come on. She's married, Carter. Jeez.
Listen, let me have a fan. Julie says, there are many, many names in those emails. Much of Epstein info was sealed by courts until now. Mm-hmm. And Julie says, zero evidence? There are tons of evidence. There is going to be an avalanche of evidence. All you have to do is read it.
Oh, I'm in. I love reading this kind of stuff, and I read it objectively. And the moment that I see evidence that convinces me, and I'm not bought into either side, you give me the right evidence that is clear, concise, and unbiased, and I'm right there with you.
And I was just thinking about this. I was in a discussion with someone the other day. It almost sort of hurts the credibility if you go into like looking at the evidence, trying to find something. Mm-hmm. Like, Julie, I'm sorry. It's clear. You're biased against Trump. You don't like Trump. You want him to fail. You hope something is in there about him. That's so clear. It's true. So when you say I'm going to go and read all the evidence, I can't help but feel as though you're going to take that bias in there. I'd almost trust somebody that's like, I have no feelings whatsoever. I don't honestly care who it is. I just want to see what they've got. And I will trust that person over Julie.
Well,
no offense,
you have to take the analogy of how our justice system works to really peek into what's going on. Like, for instance, if you have a prosecutor and, a defense attorney, they both have different objectives. One is to clear the name and one is to prosecute the name. Yeah. And if they come across something that doesn't help their case, they will do their best to not acknowledge that thing exists, right? Because they have a job to do. Politics are run by lawyers. This is how they run things. So if you think Republicans aren't going to lay down cover fire for other Republicans and demonize the Democrats, we have to take that conflict between the two, and whatever survives the conflict is what we have to accept as truth. Justice doesn't mean what you think it does. It's not truth. That way, if a prosecutor was going after somebody for a crime, and they find out that it's really unlikely that they commit that crime, you would expect in the justice to say, the prosecutor says, hey, you know what? I want this case thrown out, right? Because I think now this guy really didn't do it, and I'm not going to continue prosecuting someone. He's going to say, I hope this guy's good on the defensive side, because they need to do their job to be able to combat whatever I have to say. But if you're a prosecutor and go along with a prosecution of someone who you think is innocent, which I think happens all the freaking time, because that process is super messy.
Yeah.
Well, with you and I, if we had an argument, we would be interested in just what the truth is. I don't care what you're prosecuting for. You have to be reasonable. And when you're wrong, you have to stomach that you have the humility of admitting when the part of what you thought was wrong, and come to an agreement after all the truth has been levied.
And can you imagine, you always hear like high profile court cases have to like go out of state or go elsewhere so that they can get some unbiased actual like opinions and views. And it can't be in a situation where the emotions are too high surrounding it. How in God's name would anybody involved get a fair trial in this? How? There's no way you're going to find a court system, a judge, a jury, what have you, that doesn't know about this, that hasn't been following this, that doesn't have something at stake in this, that can completely shut off any and all biases. I think it's going to be too difficult. I don't even know if anybody is going to be brought to light, accused of something, and see a day in court, because it's too messy.
So great intentions. You want to be able to make sure that if somebody committed a crime in Chicago, that their peers, when they're being judged, aren't also from Chicago, where they got an emotional, like, I knew somebody or I read the newspaper, I'm already biased in it. So you're able to shop a different court system that might not have that bias. Well, in today's world, that doesn't exist. Everybody knows what's happening to find unbiased, but you open then yourself to court shopping, right? So why do you think that Judge Bozeman, I think that was his name,
Bozeman.
Right? So Bozeman was an anti-Trumpist that were really sided on illegal immigrants' side. And why all these cases end up in Judge Bozeman's court? Because they're able to not take the jurisdiction they're in, but they can shop a court that is friendly to whatever you're trying to do. Yeah. It's so long that I have the power to be able to pick out a court and judge that's going to be friendly to what I'm bringing in front of them, rather than, instead of saying a jury that is unbiased, now we have court systems that are biased. And you Obama take a Obama judge, place him, and like, hey, he's my guy, he owes me, right? Let me find him as a judge, so when I'm bringing something in front of the court, we want to think that the court system is completely nonpartisan. It's not the case. Yeah. So there is a bias in every dimension of our justice system.
Yeah. All the more reason I say we'll never know. No, we'll never know what happened. The biggest glimmer of hope is maybe years from now, when we can't do anything about it anyways.
Nobody will care about it, and it will be so far gone. Like, you remember how pissed off everybody is after Charlie Kirk and how whatever? Do you notice that most of that sentiment is faded, and you can say something bad about Charlie Kirk and barely anybody raises their eyebrow? Do you see how short term our focus is?
I'm still
salty
about that.
You might be, but people have dropped their guard and are not as mad about it anymore.
I'm salty.
He's just a guy who died in September.
September. It was September 10th, and it's not just a guy.
Mm-hmm. You said yesterday that you wouldn't read the evidence that Jack Smith, who is a nonpartisan I stopped right there. Nonpartisan prosecutor. Are you sure you want to go with the nonpartisan prosecutor in Jack Smith?
Because you don't like Jack Smith.
That's an ostrich mentality. He is releasing the evidence that should have been released in court. And Kelin, I sure do hate Trump, but evidence is evidence, whether or not you like him. Jack Smith, nonpartisan prosecutor.
Who is Jack Smith again? I can't picture this guy.
Do you want me to bring up a picture of Jack?
Yeah,
Smith?
I do.
You will probably fall in love because he's not bad looking.
Oh, that's nice.
He looks like he could be the villain in a movie.
He's not good
Hold on. Maybe the Jack Smith picture. There was a time where Jack Smith was better looking than now. I think time is taking its revenge on him.
Maybe many years ago.
A younger Jack.
Oh my
Jack
Lord,
Smith
he does look like a villain, though.
Yeah, but anyway, he is a partisan dipshit, and I'll read something that Jack Smith has written, but the filter that I put through this dude is going to be heavy. There are going to be like
Julie says,
5 words that come out.
Tell her why you think he is partisan.
Jack Smith?
Yeah.
Because I've listened to the dude talk, and I came to the conclusion that he is a captured partisan prosecutor. He is captured, and a captured person can give me no new information. He is going after a person. I know he's going after the person. Everything comes out of his mouth is because he's going after someone. He's not a real person. He's a captured partisan prosecutor. Just like Judge Bozeman, every finding, he might have some, pretty reasonable court cases that came through his court. I don't care about that. When it comes to an immigration court case that comes through Judge Bozeman, I'm not going to say, maybe he was reasonable on this one. I'm going to say, you have a captured judge. So I'm not going to listen to what he came up with because he's incapable of being reasonable on the aggregate. He's not the right guy. Pick someone other than Jack Smith. Pick someone who's not captured as unbiased. Can you name a politician who you feel, besides John Fetterman, is middle of the road and is reasonable enough to oscillate between this side and that side whenever he feels it's right and wrong? Name a couple.
I think RFK Jr.
RFK Jr. Tulsi Gabbard. She's really more captured than she once was.
Yeah.
She knows who her boss is, but at one time she was fairly reasonable. She was not afraid to hit back at certain things. Very few in my lifetime that were that way.
All I got.
Bill Maher. He's not a political person, but man, the dude follows his principle, and even though I disagree with it, I know he's not captured.
Yeah, I've been seeing more and more of Bill Maher's content lately, and I'm just like, oh, thank God, you get it, thank God. Like, and he has always said he was a Democrat, he was more liberal, he doesn't like Trump, he disagrees with a lot of things, but he's like, but I'm not blind. I see exactly what the left is doing. Mm-hmm. They're wrong, and he'll say, you're not okay. You're not okay. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I do like this and I do like this, regardless of what side it's on.
Yeah.
And
somebody mentioned, I saw an interview this weekend, and they were sort of like dissecting political speech, political debate. And you saw the hearings, like when you have something to say, like you might as well not even listen because you can tell what that person's going to say. I feel like I could sit down with a Bill Maher and he would be open to an exchange of conversation rather than just giving me a canned response to what he's allowed to say or feels comfortable saying without undermining his political persuasion. And so I take all the people that are captured like Jack Smith, that even if I threw a nugget, he would not get curious about the nugget that I threw at him. He would look to dismantle that argument first and foremost. And if he couldn't dismantle it, he would deflect from it. And so you can't have a conversation with someone who's so captured. That's when I say captured, it means someone who is unreasonably entrenched in an ideology.
Yeah, there is no discussion because they're not listening to understand and get it. Mm-hmm. All they're doing is thinking, how can I shoot holes in this?
Exactly.
How can I rebuttal?
They are an attorney and they know that they are on one side and the only thing that come out of their mouth, the thing that helps their case and hurts the other side, period.
Yeah. Carter says, is hate and Trump derangement syndrome the same thing? Asking for a friend.
Is hate and TDS the same thing? Asking
because Julie says she hates Trump.
It's a softened version. Like there's very few people who would take Trump derangement syndrome and just embrace it. Say, yep, I hate the guy, and every decision I make is going to go through that filter. And yeah, it's just.
I was one of the few that admitted it. When I had it, I admitted I had it.
Yeah, and easy. And if you want to know about Jack Smith and whether he's partisan, find a quote, find an action that went against his side, where he came to terms with something and he just admitted that even though this doesn't help his side, that he disagrees with it or against it. That's the test. So like you and I, do we take shots at Trump?
Yes.
Do we call when he does something we agree with? Do we kind of across the board? You can take any person, and I'm going to say good things and bad things because of what I know to be truth or my opinion on something. I'm not captured.
Yeah.
Republicans hate me. Democrats hate me because I'm unwilling to join a tribe and stay on that side.
Yeah. When Trump and Kamala were running against each other.
Kamala. Did you see it, by the way? Go ahead, finish your thought.
I was just going to say, I could be leaning towards one over the other, but I would still defend. Like, if I was like, okay, I think Trump is making more sense with his policies and what he wants to do. I trust him maybe to make better decisions than her. But the moment someone's like, oh, did you hear? And Kamala said this. I'm like, no, she didn't. No, she didn't.
Can I tell you a very embarrassing Kamala thing from this weekend?
Yes.
All right. So all of you who think Kamala is awesome, stop listening right now. If you think she's an idiot, you're going to freaking love this one because she's a freaking idiot.
Oh, God.
And I don't know if this was misspeak or not, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She just said the wrong word. But deep down inside, I just think she doesn't know things. Okay. She was in an interview and they were talking about how her strategies were aligning with what Trump was doing. Right. And so they were saying certain things and she was responding a certain way. Have you ever heard that someone is playing 5D chess?
Sounds familiar.
Okay.
Like the expression?
Yeah. Sometimes people say that Trump is playing 10D chess. It's even a more dramatic version of playing chess. So when somebody said Joe is playing 5D chess, what would you expect that to mean?
It kind of sounds like it means like it's your strategy, like a long game, like I know where I'm going and it's very strategic and it's going to take so many steps kind of thing.
That's regular chess.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not a chess player.
Okay. All right. So the quote was that when she was combating the strategy, she was playing 3D chess, right? Misused it, didn't use 5D, didn't use 10D. She used 3D, which is basically just chess. So she was saying she was playing a chess match, which would have been easier if she said, against him, he's playing checkers and I'm playing chess. That would have been a better, win there.
Yeah.
But she was using the language that they used to refer to Trump as he's this superhuman capabilities and the brain portion of things. And he's going beyond length, width, and height and time, right? And he's going beyond his strategy on things that you can't even contemplate. It's basically saying that he's way smarter than anybody that is around him. But she said that she's playing 3D chess. And I'm like, oh, you're just playing regular chess where all the pieces are known and every move is known and the strategies are known. And you're just, warring against someone who also knows how to play chess. So did she
just say the expression wrong? Or?
Yes, that's what I think. I don't think she meant that he's playing. Maybe she messed it up and she was like, he's playing checkers, which is
is it the equivalent of like fool me once and you just can't fool me again?
It was bad. When I heard that, I was like, did you just, I think I know what you meant to say.
Just say.
And I think I know what you meant to say, but what you did say means thank God we dodged that bullet is all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah.
So bad. So bad.
Julie says he has gone after many, many corrupt people. He has spent years prosecuting Kosovo war criminals at the Hague. He is not and has never been political. He has been a prosecutor all his life.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT.
And then she says, Joe, are you biased? Can we something?
Biased to my principles. Like I will never, I'm 100% governed by what I know and what I suppose. And I have a curiosity to anything I suppose to add more evidence to make it that I know more than I do right now. And I'm beholden to that. Things I know, and no one's going to talk me out of those unless you can add new information and I can change my mind. I'm reasonable. What people were in the 80s and 90s politically, I'm that guy, right?
Yeah.
I'm not captured. So if I say things that you disagree with, that does not make me biased. It means that I'm just smarter than you.
Just smarter than you.
Is Jack
I do still want to play with this some more.
Political.
Chat GPT. ChatGPT.
GPT.
ChatGPT.
It's thinking a while, so ChatGPT might be captured.
Oh no!
Look at that. It's thinking. Is he partisan?
That depends on what you mean by political. Jack Smith is a career prosecutor who currently serves as a special counsel for the U.S. Department of Justice. He was appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland in November 2022 to oversee two major federal investigations involving former President Donald Trump, one related to classified documents and another concerning the 2020 election and January 6th events. Here's how to break down whether his role is political. Officially or in perception. So, in function, he's meant to be apolitical, but in public discourse, his work is deeply politicized.
All right. So, okay, the argument is whether or not at one point in his career he was able to be a partisan, but once he got involved in an administration, he became partisan and political. I'll give you that. So there might have been a time in Jack Smith's lives that he wasn't the douchebag that I think he is today, but now he is a douchebag. And there are very few political agents that I despise, and he is one of them. So give me another one other than Jack Smith, and I won't give you Steve Bannon. How about that? You read nothing that Steve Bannon says, and I won't read anything Jack Smith. Both partisan douchebags as far as I'm concerned.
Todd's laughing at the just smarter. He says ChatGPT is biased.
Yes.
And Julie says that is such a nerd thing to say. Only you would think 3D chess is a burn.
It is. It is a burn. 3D chess is just regular chess.
Sweet burn. Is that the equivalent of saying like, oh, wow, they really changed their lives. They did a complete 360. And you're like, wait a minute. You didn't use that right.
100%. But as society becomes dumber, we take like chess. Chess was a game that most people played, right? Mm-hmm. Because you had to have high intellect to be able to build the neurons in your brain to think beyond to this move for 47 moves down the road, right? So it was a complicated game. Mm-hmm. Now it's just a normal game. I play with chess with my kid all the time. We outmaneuver each other. Sometimes he wins, sometimes I win. It's a game that I have not mastered, right? But when I play in the real world and I use an intellect higher than most people, I don't say I'm just playing regular chess, because that's playing a game that everybody can do. I'm playing something that is far beyond what is needed for chess. So the compliment that you're paying someone when you're saying I'm playing 5D chess is you have knowledge and instrumentation in your brain that allows you to calculate things that are imperceivable by other people. That is the purpose of the slang, the compliment. Anyway.
Do you think you were born that way, or did you become that way?
I developed it.
You developed your higher intellect?
Yeah. And you can do it too. Like if you might not play chess right now, but if you started playing, let's just say every Friday night, you bring a smart person with you to get dominant. You just get your ass kicked in chess. Don't play with someone who doesn't know how to play, because then it just becomes a farce. You're not being outmaneuvered. It's just two drunk people playing chess. Play with someone who knows how to play. And then get curious as to why they beat you as badly as they did. Obviously, they're thinking things that you're not thinking. And so then you're like, hey, how did you know to do this? Right? And what?
Go on.
You wanted to say something.
You made me think of something, but I'll make it after your point.
Okay. So then they're like, oh, yeah, I was thinking, I was trying to predict your moves you were going to make. And I made moves ahead of when you made yours. So if you did them, you would jump into a trap that I set 5 moves ago. And you're like, well, how did you go into the future and, expect me or whatever? Well, I went to this library of chess moves, and, what's the most popular first chess move, right? You Google that and say, what do people usually do? And it's middle pawn, 2 spaces is what 90% of the people that chess is. Well, you just developed a neuron in your brain that you collected information that reasonable people who are just playing drunk chess never even look at. So if I'm like, you're going to do that, then I'm going to predicate my move on what I already know that you're going to do. And are you a good player? Are you an old player? Have you been playing for years? Are you a master champion? And use who I'm playing. And that becomes nothing about what's on the board. You're playing a person. It's
You're
almost
the
like
mentalist.
Yes. It's almost like poker. You're not playing the cards. You're playing the people.
It's interesting what you said in the beginning about you question. Like when you are presented with somebody doing something, saying something, reacting a certain way, you question, well, what made you do that?
Yes.
Well, why do you feel that way?
Mhm.
And so many people don't.
Yes.
You know, I'm currently sort of in a discussion with a family member over a topic that we are on totally opposite ends of the spectrum on. And absolutely any discussion, anything, this person takes that's stupid, you don't know anything, I'm right. And I'm like, you've never once asked me why I think this way, or what my experience was, or how I developed that thought, or how I see it, or why. Like, no questions asked. It's just, you think differently from me, you're clearly wrong. And it's just like, that's so close-minded.
Here's the way. And you gotta, when you're negotiating, you have to agree the standard. Like if the agreement was, I don't want to give you a $10 bill, and you want me to give you a $10 bill, so that we could just battle it out, and whoever wins gets the $10 bill. Everybody gets to keep it, or you don't. Or you can say, let's do an unbiased deal. I'm going to take somebody who doesn't care who gets the $10 bill, and I want their question to be, who should get the $10 bill? That means I have to concede that somebody's not going to be to my benefit, and you're going to have to concede that they're not to your benefit. So when they say Kelin should get the $10 bill, you're going to believe them more. I'm not going to believe you because you want the $10 bill. There's huge benefit in you having the $10 bill. So everything you're going to say is to promote the thing that you want. That person that's just looking at us doesn't give two shits, right? Unless you pay them $5 of the $10 bill to take your side, which is happening politically. Yeah. So you have to take the camera angle and take it to someone who is literally unbiased to give you a not who should get it, but who deserves it more. And with that in question, then I know I have to say, well, what if you can have an argument that says that you need the $10 more than I do? And then you could come to the conclusion, or come to the concession, that what if I don't deserve this $10 bill and Joe absolutely does? And both of us are at a disadvantage and an advantage starting out, right? Mm-hmm. Now that's an unbiased conclusion.
I think we're out of time. Carter did say, good show always. Thank you both. Well, BJ said we had 3 minutes, and that was at least a minute and some change ago.
We got 3 minutes and 30 seconds still. So Nat says, I love playing chess.
Maybe a minute.
But I prefer playing 3-minute or 1-minute blitz chess. Joe, do you play chess on chess.com? If so, what's your rating? I don't play any digital stuff. I'm an in-person gamer. I like the physical pieces. So yeah, I play a lot of chess with my kid. He's really the only person that plays me in a way that is useful. Like, I know I'm developing him when we're doing it, and his brain capacity, and he's a really good challenge. He's fun to play against, because here's the thing. Like, when you play a professional chess player, they have a strategy where they're very predictable. And so you're outmaneuvering a strategy. When I play him, he has just enough entropy built into his style that I might start playing him one way, and he completely shifts the strategy mid-game, and it puts me on notice.
He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. So I like it because he's a little unpredictable in that way, and I like that. So
he's mentalisting your mental list.
And then I do the same back at him, and it goes back and forth. They're very good games.
Julie says there are lots of homeless chess savants in Washington Park that would smoke you at chess, then pee on the chessboard.
Absolutely.
Do you say that from experience, Julie? It sounds a little too detailed for someone who didn't see it happen.
I would play somebody in chess for a meal, and I wouldn't try to lose. I'd still buy him a meal anyway.
And
but
then let him pee on the board?
They would not pee on the board. That's so counterproductive.
Would you pee on the board?
I would not pee on the board.
You were like, boom.
No, I'm not peeing on any board. I'm saying shake their hand like gentlemen that we are.
You know who would pee on the board? The people that have ball sacks hanging from their
They would
trucks.
not pee on the board. Well, maybe they would. Maybe they would. They would? All right.
Would.
Well, I would not appreciate any urination on my board. All right. Thank you, Carter. I appreciate it. All right. We're out of here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week. MLO Bros tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. Thank you for your support.